this project single-handedly was the largest, longest, and hardest artwork I've ever done. To say that I am proud is an understatement. Huge thanks to Kata Kemi for help and direction and feedback. Without your help, it wouldn't nearly be what it is. Links in the description to Kata's social media. Please go check out an amazing artist. Eparch. Where do I even begin? I spent days, weeks, searching through lore, the wiki, in-game dialogue, and books, in search of anything I could find on this elusive creature. Streams spent just theory crafting what he might look like, be like, what he's done, and what he might do. I decided that doing my very own theory on him to compare when we finally get to set our eyes on Eparch was the best path forward for myself and also requested by the community. Who is Eparch? The Midnight King, a highly evolved tyrannical demon ruler of Nyos, the realm of dreams, and overlord of the Cryptus. Alongside his queen Labris, they are the uncle and aunt of Paitha, Saras, and Deimos.
The person in charge down here is Paitha's cousin, or sister, or aunt, or something. And the Cryptus king and queen, Eparch and, Labris? That's her aunt and uncle. That true?
If you say so. I have no idea.
Ever seen a demon baby?
What?
Aunts and uncles and cousins. Doesn't that imply the Cryptus get married and have kids and stuff?
They don't work like that. I think it's more symbolic, or maybe it's a subspecies kind of thing, I don't know. But I have definitely never seen a demon baby. Yuck.
Too bad. A baby craven with a cute little beak.
Eparch, who made himself the king of the Cryptus and made a hierarchical society of higher and lesser Cryptus with the 4 noble houses of House Nephis, House Ambrus, House Mosin, and House Arcus. Eparch, in search of knowledge and power, wanted to join the ranks of the Wizard's Court and lived at the Wizard's Tower for some time. Eparch grew hungry for power and strove for the seat on the Wizard's Court, but found himself denied by Isgarin after Isgarin found he tore apart a village to innards and scraps of meat. Isgarin is quoted as saying that his face looked grotesque.
You didn't see it, what he did to them.
Tell me then.
Eparch is hideous.
The creature from Nyos. I thought you were friends. I still have the things he left behind in my chamber.
No. I was curious about him in the same way that I was you. But things which come from that place are not good. You are a fine ally. You didn't tear an entire village to innards and scraps of meat.
You think he was a demon?
I know he was. I should have been more careful. I sent him back, but nothing that sees this place stays away. And I've tried to keep them out for a long time.
So that's the plan.
The dragons are a headache, but the demon realm is an infection. All of those pockets are. The dragons could very well be the bacteria fighting off that infection too. I don't know, but I need them alive. I've no clue what Eparch wanted, but he wasn't happy when I booted him back to his bog.
Well, it's likely my own bias. But if we were exiled to Tyria as punishment, then perhaps the demon realm possesses something better than this? Would he want to come back?
You didn't see the look on his face.
An intense rivalry ensued for centuries, and Isgarin did all he could to stop him and the Cryptus, and Eparch did all he could to thwart Isgarin, way before even the gods themselves existed. Eparch made his society in Nyos in his image and ruled with a heavy hand, creating a realm of fear and anger. Eparch ordered the Cryptus to carry out missions to invade other realms in the mists, and consume and corrupt their landscape and inhabitants to gain more power. Wanting more, Eparch feasted on his own people and never felt satisfied. Intimidated, his people fought for him to their last dying breath, rather than anger Eparch.
Eparch is alive and well, thriving, even, on the backs of my kind.
Societies limp under poor leaders, and recover like clockwork.
Eparch is not comparable to Tyrian leaders. He does not simply drain them of wealth or land. He has taken to eating them.
He's feeding on other crypts.
Our blood is his blood, and eventually we will be dissolved.
One Cryptus lord named Febe stood up to Eparch in the name of autonomy, but was quickly slain by Deimos while Eparch watched and smiled upon Febe's fall. Febe was one of the best among the High Cryptus, the tip of his horn brushing the ceiling, but even that wasn't enough.
Febe was... He was the best of us. The tip of his left horn brushed the ceiling. He was an idol to... Oh, how would your kind say it? Autonomy. Deimos silenced his dream. Just over there, Eparch watched with a smile. That's what happens when you fight back.
When Deimos went to Tyria, he was trapped in the Bastion of the Penitent in 1330 AE, but Eparch watched and did nothing as the Pat Commander slayed Deimos, which would become Deimos' sister Peitha's multiple motivations to stop Eparch's tyranny and indifference to his subjects.
Eparch will never look to you as he did Deimos.
Lead.
Deimos died in a musky hole, and Eparch watched.
Eparch now watches on in amusement as Peitha tries everything that she can to stop him, taunting the Wayfinder and saying Peitha will soon fail.
I thought I felt something's different. It's fascinating. What you smell like, what you feel like. I'd hoped that Ceres was a smarter warrior than his brother, but I've been wrong before. I admit that. You, though, not only do you remind me of the seer, but your fear tastes like his. Peitha has impressed me, but she'll still fall short. They all do. Be wise, Wayfinder.
Who is Queen Labris? Labris is the queen of the Cryptus in Nyos and the commander of the Midnight King Eparch's army. The Cryptus view her as a powerful and dangerous opponent and highly respect her. We know very little about this queen besides a few quotes from the story and dialogue where Ceres told Peitha he should have given her to Labris to eat.
No one is powerful enough to turn on our king.
Some say she already has. The wizards couldn't defeat Ceres on their own.
Do not spread lies. Do not spread fear.
We must know what we face. Knowledge is power, not fear.
Peitha could crush us.
Surely not. Perhaps she will draw Queen Labris into the field. Our king has been absent of late. A show of power would do much to alleviate any lingering doubt.
It would. Very much so.
This is my first time doing such a huge project. It kind of felt like I was a conspiracy theorist, almost like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, with a red string and a board full of notes as I sifted through any hint of dialogue I could find and any wiki page that had even a remote connection to just find any clue of what Eparch and Labris would look like. I didn't find much besides vague descriptions and hints, and I'm relying on story and dialogue to create my own concept of them. These two may look nothing like what I've drawn, but doing this was so much fun and I enjoyed every part of it. As we go through the time-lapse, you can see I've made a lot of changes as I've gone through and seen what works and what doesn't. From the way he sits, to what he's holding, and even Labris's horns, and I couldn't make up my mind for a bit there. Don't even get me started on the fire. Design choices I had were merely on a few things. Eparch, who is the king and can see all, basically as he's been known to watch from the shadows. I pictured him having a ton of eyeballs everywhere and being an all-seeing entity. Their looks are heavily influenced by Paitha and Ceres and Deimos, as they are relatives according to the lore, even if aunt and uncle doesn't mean the same thing for Cryptus. The eyeballs resemble the eyes you see on the rift openings where Cryptus spill through to Tyria. I also thought it could be a connection to the many Cryptus he has consumed, as the eyes resemble some of the Cryptus themselves. I also decided to play on the idea that since he devours his own people, that he probably has a ton of corpses and bones around his throne. Also with Labris, since she is the leader of Eparch's army, I decided to give her armor, cloak, and a sword, and a sense of control over the situation. And since they are the embodiment of fear and anger, I like the idea that her armor portrays that too, and like the concept of her shoulder guards being faces of angry and scared humans. I used the shield called the Voice in the Void as an inspiration for this. Behind them, the long, dark hallways of a castle or keep, as well as a stained glass window similar to the Temple of Febe, since it seemed like architecture was relatively the same in many places. And the chain being pulled by Eparch attached to something off to the side, as if he is controlling something. And here, there's a theory that sticks in my head after diving so heavily into the lore that I just cannot shake. This may be an insane thought, but I also wanted to see what you thought as well. Eparch is the puppet master of every disaster and conflict, and is Mr. E himself. Let me explain my theory. Eparch and Esgarn have been having a centuries-old feud with each other and strove to thwart each other at every turn. This existed even before the gods came to Tyria and before the Elder Dragons were known of. In the lore, it is stated that Esgarn has done everything he could to stop the reawakening of the Elder Dragons to bring peace to Tyria, but Eparch had every intention to screw him over. Humans came with the gods to Tyria but became corrupted with the magical power that was gifted to them by the gods, Abaddon specifically. But humans became greedy and it led to many devastating wars. The gods, to Abaddon's dismay, destroyed the Bloodstone and ended the reign of magic and angered Abaddon. What followed were bloody wars in the name of Abaddon, and was soon his fall when he tried to overthrow the gods. When the gods revoked the gift of magic back into the Bloodstone, they tapped into the dormant Elder Dragon's energy and increased the power of magic in doing so, not knowing of Zaitan's existence. In 1219 AE, Zaitan awoke and brought the lost nation of Or, which had previously been destroyed by the cataclysm, to the surface. Kobaya Mariner had witnessed the rising of Or, seeing thousands of swarming risen on the rising lands over a tidal wave, later called the Great Tsunami. After the commander killed Zaitan, his power went into the remaining Elder Dragons. Remember Scarlet? What did she see in Omad's machine that corrupted her into the evil being we know from Season 1 Living Story? Her tapping into the ley line brought forth the reawakening of Mordremoth and his Mordrim army. The commander killed Mordremoth and his power yet again moved on to the remaining dragons. Do you remember the letters from E? Mr. E, a play on words of mystery thanks to Casimir. This mysterious person sent us letters moving us along to the next conflict, giving us insider knowledge of what was happening, or what was about to happen. E for Eparch, maybe? He is never seen, but is known to have a deep voice, and has many eyes and ears around Tyria to know what is going on at any time. E led us into the conflict that started with Scarlet, then again with the White Mantle that led us to the rival of Balthazar. Then comes the God of War, his corruption and attempt to kill the Elder Dragons and seize power for himself, the White Mantle, the Bastion of the Penitent, Saul D'Alessio, Mursat, Seers. Balthazar's fall would lend his power to the Elder Dragons, continuing the conflict and the commander moving on to kill Krakatorrik, who also seemed corrupted. We had to go into Assas to wrangle him back to reality. Krakatorrik's fall lent power to Primordus and Jormag, the last two remaining Elder Dragons who we forced to fight each other to rid Tyria of the last two remaining dragons we knew of. And then our conflict with Anka, who was also corrupted, wanting to see the end of Tyria to quote-unquote save it. But we had no idea why she acted this way, and she never told us. Suwan became corrupted, and finally with her fall, the only Elder Dragon that is left is Aurene. What do all these events have in common? A string of events that led us as the commander to take out the very existence of Elder Dragons that kept Tyria together. Against the wishes of Isgarn and the warnings we were given that everything was about to unravel, were we the puppets of Eparch, who just wanted to watch Isgarn's world burn. Each event led on to the next and connected in some way. Each entity corrupted just like Shiro Tagachi was by Konexai, the scythe of House Arcus, the High Cryptus Lord under Eparch the Midnight King, or Deimos in the Bastion of the Penitent, who watched over the leader of the White Mantle, who was imprisoned there by Mursat. Several demons worked for the Alliance of Abaddon, Doom, and Menzies, the half-brother of Balthazar. Anka worked alongside Maitrin and Scarlet, who would have definitely corrupted Anka with her words about the eternal alchemy and the all, what she saw in Oman's machine. Anka sent a message to Gorik saying she had been tracking Jormag and Primordus and had some data to trade to him if he would meet her alone in Lornar's Pass. At the meeting location, she revealed that she was an Aetherblade and had kidnapped Gorik, taking him to an Aetherblade airship and through a portal into the mists. I go on for hours, each individual connection, but I don't think we have hours for this video. I may be overthinking the connections here, but let me end this theory with this line from the wiki itself for Elder Dragons. Elder Dragons were not always the main antagonists of Guild Wars 2, according to the Making of Guild Wars 2 book. Original drafts for the story included demons and angelic beings descending to the world to judge it. So, is this all one grand scheme led on by Eparch, who seems to be all-seeing and all-knowing? Who is E? Who corrupted so many people to lead so many conflicts? Was this all just an ultimate plan for Eparch to gain the ultimate power of every god and every Elder Dragon? Is it all connected? Do I look like a raving lunatic? Well, I mean, more than normal.
Eparch, listen to me. If you keep pushing, they will shove you out. They're gaining strength by the minute.
Peitha?
They've already reclaimed the Wizard of the Celestials.
Your concern is touching, Peitha. There are still worms in the dirt beneath their feet. Be patient. We are not in a rush.
Hopefully, they aren't prepared when the tide turns.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode on Eparch and the Midnight King and his Queen Labris. While we don't know much about them and have yet to see them, except for maybe someone's ankles on social media today,
Bring us something other than death.
what's about to happen? Will Secrets of the Obscure end with us bringing an end to Eparch and his tyranny? Or is this all just the beginning? If you like this episode, please consider liking and subscribing so that I know that you like this and will make more. And if you want to request the next piece of lore art that we do, please post it in the comments below. Also, be sure to let me know your theories and join me with that red thread. All info and sources I've gathered will be in the description, and huge thanks to Katakemi for the help and direction, and thank you Iron Maiden for the amazing dialogue clip for Eparch. Both of their links are in the description as well. Have a good night. I will see you all in Tyria.